Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry, and we're going to continue our draft preparation as we watch film of players the Bengals are having visits with, have contact with, and maybe trying to whittle down who they might select in the first and second round. That's typically where your visits happen. And today, as of the time I'm recording this, we have the owners' meetings down in Florida where they had the coaches' luncheon. Or is it a breakfast? Either way, the coaches eat and talk to media. Zach Taylor said and updated us on the Bengals guard situation, saying don't expect them to sign a veteran free agent guard until after the draft. If they do at all, it would be after the draft. Well, that's not good, and that's not great because I don't think the guard position is good enough. Although you may have 4 or 5 quality backups at that spot, doesn't mean you get to Voltron them and combine them into one and get a starting guard out of it. So we're back to looking at offensive linemen this week and on this episode of Bengals on the Brain. And we're going with someone the Bengals have a top 30 visit with again. And it's another tackle that's probably going to have to play guard at the NFL level. Now, this guy, though, is around 80th to 85, depending on what you look at for the consensus board and where he's expected to be drafted. And he's a very small school. And we see these guys probably once every year, sometimes even twice, where they are absolutely dominant at a small school, whether that's D2, D3 level. We've seen them from Quinn Miners to Alex Kappa. These guys happen all the time. Cody Malk a couple years ago, guy with no teeth, had his gut hanging out in this curly hair. Awesome player, good player. These guys tend to hit and work out at a pretty high rate. So this week in this episode, we are watching Charles Grant from William and Mary, who the Bengals have had contact with and bringing in on a visit. And I don't know where William and Mary is, and we're going to watch him versus Townsend and I don't know what Townsend is and where they are either. This is the fun of watching small school prospects. We're just watching football from a low camera angle because that's how the All-22 is. But I'll say this, of the games I've watched already to set it up, because this game is the representative game for Charles Grant and what he can be. I'll set up what I've seen already so far. Good athlete, number one. Number two, absolute monster out there. His tape is as dominant as anyone you're going to watch, and it should be when you're playing against these players. But that's the number one key. We've watched small prospects before on Bengals on the Brain. They have to dominate that level of competition. If they do, great. Does it mean they're going to dominate NFL players? Of course not. But number one, they have to dominate lower level competition. And Charles Grant absolutely does. Absolutely, to the point where I'm like, he is really good. Why is he playing here? How did this happen? And maybe there's a story behind it. But as of now, we're just sticking to the film. And I think he'd be a pick at 49 in round 2 for the Bengals. Would he start right away from a small school? I don't know. Let's watch this one and you can help decide. First from William and Mary, Charles Grant. First play, he's not in the position he should be. Normally left tackle. That's the tight end. So that is not Charles Grant. Charles Grant is the big guy behind him. Number 60. Remember that because we're not going to get circles over the player every time. Number 60. This big dude right here. Why is he not at the left tackle spot? Well, they like to get creative with him because he is the absolute best player on their team. And they're going to pull him around and take this number 4 here and try and block him. So it's a fun play to start the game with to show you how they value. And he even gets a running start. You see the guy going right away. He misses a little bit, but just a fun little play to start the game off, kick the game off with him not playing left tackle. Maybe you can do some Penei Sewell things with him the way the Lions do. Although it's harder to do that when he's at guard. It's easier to do it when he's at tackle. And now he's at left tackle here as he takes 90. Very simple, quick throw. We're going to see a lot of probably a garbage ball. Hey, no disrespect to Townsend or William and Mary. I'm just saying. Eyes on left tackle here. And I'll try not to move my mouse too much as he's absolutely destroying these guys. So if you can keep your eye on 10 coming down, right? You see what I'm looking at. He's going to latch on, lock on, and absolutely control this guy. To the point here now, 10 is he's in trouble. He's out back on his heels. He's going to reach for this running back that's coming through the hole here. And Charles Grant is absolutely going to destroy him and dive him into the ground. drive him into the ground. So I wanted to say, not dive him into the ground. That doesn't make sense. Again, we're going to block the end, kick him inside to our guard. Now we want to climb up and get to 3. Can we get our hands on 3? We do. So showing athleticism, good timing of the run play, good timing with your guard. This time he gets held. So a bit of a contrast to last time, as you see. I'll see if I can highlight this and draw it. You see his arm kind of miss, his hand placement kind of miss there. Even though his head's going to get swiveled around, he knows he's got to get to 10. Because he misses and can't stall this defensive tackle here, 10's going to be able to shoot this gap. So that's why we always talk about nose tackles, how important they are for linebackers. If you can tie up 2 blockers, well, then your linebacker goes to make the play and shoot the gap. So that's what happens on this one. You saw his jersey get held, right, as he tries to disengage and get to the linebacker. This is one of his highest scoring games from PFF. We'll pull up the PFF grades in a minute here. But some of these guys are absolutely no competition for him. I don't know how that corner ended up knocking that ball away. That thing hung in the air forever. He got a penalty because he ran into the face of the receiver, but still knocked it out. I think we get 45 passes and 30 runs in this game, roughly, give or take a couple, if I remember correctly, looking at the snap breakdown. So you're going to see a lot of these rolling pockets, a lot of play action. But there are some games where they are a straight 50-50 split. So I didn't want to pull one of those games up because it's not great evaluation, although he's a killer run blocker. It's just that there is probably a 30% or so of these plays that we're not going to be able to use for evaluation. And then probably if you take in the competition aspect of it, an even larger chunk. Here we go. We're going to pull him on the outside, and the play is dead on arrival. Not sure what happened there. What we're looking for in a small prospect, though, especially on the offensive line, having watched Cody Mauch and Alex Kappa and Quinn Miners and all these guys, is you're looking for these plays here where he obviously affected 40 there, right? 40 looks twisted up. Now he's going to go up and get 11, and he does. And he doesn't have great positioning, right? He is very straight up and down right now. But are you physically and athletically more dominant than your competition? That is a prerequisite for small school prospects. I've said it a few times now, but you got to really harp it in of what we're watching. Really emphasize it as much as possible. This guy tries to take an outside speed rush and really go low on Grant. I think he's a corner or a linebacker, so it makes sense why he did that. I think he looks good, though, getting out of his stance. He'd be at guard, so even if he's a little tight there, he looks good for a guard. All right, let's see him get out there. Yep, got to his guy, even though the play's going the opposite direction. This is what I do on my time off. Aren't you guys watching William and Mary tape? I guess you are now. Tell your friends. What'd you do today? I watched some William and Mary tape. What? Didn't just leave it as that. So I'm going to pull up some of his data while this is playing because, like I said, there's a lot of plays here that aren't going to be fun for us. Oh, although I do want this reverse angle here so you can kind of see his athleticism, especially on this play. So he's got to go to the right because we're zone blocking to the right. You see his athleticism getting out there while he's punching and controlling his blocker completely, right? Those are good things. But Charles Grant is 6'4" and 7/8, so he's just under 6'5", just a hair under. He's 311 pounds. He had 34.8-inch arms, so nearly 35-inch arms, nearly 82 for his wingspan, which is very long arms. A build similar to like a Trey Smith at guard for the Chiefs. His PFF grades, again, remember, they are against this competition. So the percentiles are going to be inflated a bit. But you want to know if he dominated that competition? He's at the 96th percentile for his grade. He is in the 89th percentile for his run block grade. So very good run blocker. 90th percentile in zone run blocking. His pass blocking grade puts him in the 91st percentile. His true pass set grade puts him in the 90th percentile. The problem is he only went into true pass situations about 27% of the time, as evidenced by all the misdirections and things like that, which is why he's not a tackle for NFL teams more than likely, unless he develops there and ends up being much better. But even plays like this where they're running away, the Bengals could use some better backside blocking. I tell you what, that's how you create these long explosive runs. And he's not done. There's some games and some highlights. You can find it if you put his name in. If you put Charles Grant in on Twitter and go to the media tab and watch some highlights, there's a lot of draft analysts that have posted it in there where the guy is just absolutely mauling his opponent pretty consistently. Good job getting to the second level, stealing off that linebacker, not letting that linebacker get to the outside. That's what you want to see. Again, he's latched on completely. You see how he's helping there? Getting to the second level, getting to the linebacker, latched on, running back's following that hole. And we're talking this guy is, I started with this, he's in the 80s for the consensus ranking. And that's where these guys typically end up going, the Quinn Miners, the Alex Kappa, the Cody Mauk, and there's been plenty of others. Those are just the last three I'm thinking of. They typically go in like the third round, sometimes fourth round. So if you're saying, well, you get to the third round, what kind of guards are still there? It may be someone like Charles Grant. And that's a good block there also as well. Again, get up to space, get to the linebacker, seal him off, turn him. Now you've created that wall for the running back to cut up field. And he does. And in fact, he almost broke that because Charles Grant laid a nice block there. The cutback's there because Grant's block on that. Did you see him staying with that D end? We're only going to do one game of Charles Grant because it's this tape and the level is not that exciting and the competition's not that exciting. And William Mary only has 3 points in this game somehow. He gets taken out by the guy next to him. But in pass pro there, because we haven't gotten too many true pass sets, you'll see his 40 comes around. That length there, that wingspan. I'd love to have that length inside. You typically don't get, the guys with less length get kicked inside. This is more of a competition thing. So he's going to get kicked inside into the NFL. We got a polling situation. Didn't matter. Running back cut it up inside. I thought he could have been a little quicker on that pull. He's communicating with his running back there. He's got the outside guy, and he picked it up. Did you see that? Did you see him tapping his backside? Let's go back another 5 seconds. Grant on the left. He's tapping his backside to the running back, telling him, I have the outside guy. The left guard's going to take the D end. So he's saying, I've got the guy that's blitzing. He can tell that there's someone blitzing here. So the guard's going to go take the D end. And if 10 would have came on a blitz or anyone else, the running back, you've got him. He's declaring to his guy who he's got. And he was right. There comes someone blitzing from the edge. Back shoulder ball caught. All right. Seven-point game. Flip the camera. Don't forget, because this is a guy that's directly in our range is being held again as he's trying to get to the second level, still gets there. In our range of rounds 2, 3, and 4, that we will have First Star Logistics will have a stream and a show where you can get my takes live on day 2 of the draft from the Handlebar Great American Ballpark. You'll find that stream on the First Star Media YouTube page. It's the third year we've done it. It's a good event. It's a fun time. You can get my reactions. I remember when Miles Murphy was drafted and we were talking the next day, and I'm like, needs some pass rush technique. It's only really got the one move. Don't love it. And people were excited. I hate raining on the parade when people are excited, but I think last year someone sent me a clip where I'm like, I don't see anything exciting from this day 2 of the draft, where it was Chris Jenkins, Jermaine Burton, McKinley Jackson. That's how I ended that stream and that show. And we got Charles Grant just absolutely giving up 0 ground to number 40. 40's in. He's asking for some relief. Can someone else come in? Again, double team, help with his guy, and then get to the second level. Are you seeing me? Are you with me here? I mean, completely knocking that guy off balance. Now let's go up and get number 3. Those are the responsibilities. He says he's got outside. Oh, almost beat him across his face. Let's go. Here we go. Now we got to play. Everyone wake up. Eyes up. 27's out here on the outside. Grant's saying he's going to take the outside guy. He took a double check inside just to be sure. And then 27 tries to really go inside on him here. And with his helmet past him, I felt like he was beat for this frame here. And then Grant somehow drives him in and to the ground. So there's the power and athleticism showing up there, as he's got to change direction and still get a much faster moving target. I don't care what level of competition is for offensive linemen to block DBs or fast linebackers. It's that's a fumble. 11's down. He's in pain. And Townsend is going the other way. But to block faster players is always going to be a challenge for linemen. So when you can, I like it. Even though you're much bigger and stronger, you should be able to out power them. Yeah, 10's trying to spin move on him. Nothing. Good balance. William and Mary is now down 14. And they're trying to stick with the run game. Oh. How do you guys feel about taking a small school prospect? Can the Bengals afford to do that? Even with recent success for those guys? The NFL seems to be really good at identifying them and saying, you know what, this guy stands out above everyone else. Are you okay with that? If the value is correct, if it's round 3, what if it's at 49? And now that guy's got to come in and compete with all the veterans that have played 3,000 snaps in their career. Is he going to be able to beat them out? So is a second round pick going to make an impact for you? Now, what do you feel about tackles moving to guard? Because that's where the majority of them come from. They play tackle in college because that's where the better offensive linemen play. And then the better offensive linemen get drafted and have to kick inside and play guard. That's what happens. But there are some true guards. You do have the Donovan Jacksons, even though he played tackle as well. You have the Tate Ratledge. But a lot of these other guys are left tackles or offensive tackles. You're just not getting around him at all in these clips. The pocket's moving. I'm not sure Townsend's got an athlete to even threaten him. But on contact, the opponent is dead every time. Every time. And even like 90 there, okay? So the pocket's going one way. 90's rolling with it. That's what Charles Grant's blocking. Once he realizes the quarterback is bootlegging the other way, He's going to try and rip and throw Grant down. Nothing. So I'll go one more time. 0. Could not get off his that grip strength is real. Couldn't get off him. See if William Mary can get back in this. It's 34-13. He looks more athletic than any of the other linemen on the team, too. I don't think we have testing data for him. I don't know when William and Mary's pro day is. I assume he's going to test. Rare pass block opportunity for him. The quarterback's pretty athletic. Is it not Townsend, huh? There's no N there. Is it just Townsend? I'm learning. Nothing much going on there. Oh, now we're just watching this quarterback run around. That's where we're at. Reset, throw. Or not. Man, he got crushed. He's trying to put the team on his back. I mean, he tosses this guy absolutely out of here. You guys watching this? Charles Grant, eyes up again. If you've been casually watching, waiting for something cool to happen, I'm going to outline Charles Grant and his man here that he's going to block. Watch him throw this guy and twist him up. Right there. He's out of there now. If we had a side angle, they are 7 yards behind line of scrimmage now. And he's just tossing them around. 2nd and 6. 2nd and goal. Quarterback trying to keep it. This would be a goal line situation. Maybe 2 to go. I'd like to see him run behind Grant. 3rd and 2. And they need a touchdown. Grant looks like he's pulling. No, he's just going to the right. Yeah, good luck there. 4th and 6, and they pretty much got to go for it. All right, let's watch Grant. We get a good pass rush situation here. Come on. Hey, we got a side angle. We got the Philly special? We did get the Philly special. How about that? Okay. That's why they gave us a side angle, because they weren't they didn't get to an end zone angle fast enough. Thanks, video production guys at William and Mary, or probably at Townsend, because they're the home team. Dang. I thought he was going to thread that. I thought he was going deep to the safe or up the seam. He was trying to hit the dagger. Down by 14, just under 10 minutes left. What was that? All right. And Grant. Wow. So that's a fun play. Go back. We're seeing the fun stuff in the lower level at the end of the game here. First, let's watch Grant. Or I should probably mention 12 is under center here. He's going to go out to the left. Don't know where he goes, but then he's going to streak downfield. So to clear that up. Watch Grant here, though. Very smooth and patient in his pass pro at this point. The quarterback needs time. And he's got that guy locked. And meanwhile, 12 is running down the middle of the field and catches a beautiful ball, deep ball, over the shoulder. William and Mary has a chance again. Grant, again, just eliminating his man. Absolutely eliminating him. Throwing him wide, getting him back behind the line of scrimmage. No threat to the running back at all when they're running that way. Little bit of confusion there as he's got to pick up cross dog almost to the outside. 2 linebackers. The running back's got his guy. Grant's got his guy. Just enough space for the quarterback to get that throw off. I'm surprised they didn't call that a pressure. Maybe from our angle, it was actually further away than what we saw, because the PFF didn't give him a pressure for this game. Give it to your man. Oh, you forget he's a lefty on something like that. You got to measure that. Oh, that must have been fourth down. Screen. Can Grant get out there? Can they make something happen? They called a flag on something. I don't think that was on Grant, though, because he didn't get out in the front. Again, locking his guy down. That's what it looks like. So we're only getting a few of these pass pros in this game. But that's what it looks like if you're going to take a guy. I mean, just unthreatened physically, athletically, technique-wise. These guys don't have anything on them. They can't do anything. Down to 4 minutes left, still down 14. William & Mary needs to push this ball down the field as Townsend starts to send these blitzes and these rushers at the quarterback. Grant's doing his job. He looks good. I'll pull up his PFF data real quick afterwards because I want you guys to see just how crazy it looks. As it should. Go deep to that guy. Yeah, there you go. Bang. Got it. Needed something. Still alive. From the 25. Oh, we need that catch. I become a fan of whoever we're watching. Would it be better to watch a game where a guy does get beat? What if he doesn't get beat all year, though? Very uneventful game when the player you're watching is so dominant that he doesn't get beat all game. He never even breaks a sweat. All right, there we go. Get him in space and seal off the inside. Come on, one. Should have cut back earlier. Don't be afraid of contact. Run behind your man, number 60 there. He's got you. That must have been a penalty there. Tush push. That's why we're getting a side angle. They get it? They're saying no. And a flag. And that's the end of the game. That must have been it. They didn't get it. And Townsend cleaned it up or ran the clock out. So bringing up Charles Grant's PFF grades, you will see Stony Brook, he had a 55. Give up pressure in that game. Totally give up 9 pressures and 2 sacks. Finished the year giving up a sack in back-to-back games versus Richmond and Bryant, despite having an average of an 80 pass block grade. For the season, he ended up with an 88 pass block grade, a 90 run block grade, as he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in college. So he's going to be a bit of an older prospect. 7 penalties. Left tackle the entire time other than playing tight end and being a jumbo guy. So these are the grades we'd like to see. You have to have that if we're talking about a William & Mary prospect. I think I would say, based on the other games I watched, there's 3 available if you're in the draft community. Based on all of them, I would say 3rd round would be a fun spot to take him. They're way low on his height and weight here. Don't pay attention to that. So I know that's not the most fun film you've ever watched, but it's kind of part of the process. And I try to show you that even some of the film I watch isn't the best or most exciting, but you have to take my word for it. It's why I didn't give you more than one game, because it all looks like that. He rarely gets beat. He's rarely struggling. He looks more athletic and looks bigger and stronger than everyone on the field. And in fact, some of the highlights, like I said, put them on Twitter, put in Charles Grant, are pretty extreme in terms of high-end finishing and just overpowering his opponent. So those guys typically go in rounds 2, 3, 4, right? So in that range, let's say 3rd round for the Bengals. If that's the situation they're in where they haven't taken a lineman before that, it's not the situation I want to be in. But I would take Charles Grant. And I do think he has a chance to be a good player. I wish we had athletic testing. As of now, when I punch him in as a I get film grade for me as a 76 there, saying third round is probably where I would take a guy of this caliber, this prospect from a small school. It spits him out, though, with the advanced data currently without testing, near a 79, which means some teams may be considering him in round 2, which is why originally I set it up for, is this a guy at 49? Where are we looking? Because typically these 30 visits are for guys in rounds 1 and 2. Sometimes we get them, because we track this stuff every year. Sometimes we get them for rounds 3 and later, as the Bengals are trying to figure out what to do with this small school left tackle that'll probably be a guard for them in a position they desperately need to find answers. This has been Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. This is our 160th episode, and we're counting down to the draft with players the Bengals are bringing in for draft visits. And are they worth the pick or not? You tell me what you think.
Everybody loves the NFL draft. There's no question about that. So, in honor of that, we're going to have our third annual First Star Logistics draft party. It's going to be at Handlebar at Great American Ballpark. It's going to start at 7 o'clock. And then Friday, of course, is day 2 of the draft, rounds 2 and 3. Brad Johansson will be hosting. Joe Goodberry and myself will be on the panel. And also make sure we get some guests from the Cincinnati Bengals organization that are going to remain a little bit of a surprise to you folks right now. It's sold out. I mean, first time we had it at Great American Ballpark, it was well received. It's off the charts this time. So the only way you can catch us, watch the live stream on the First Star Media Group YouTube channel. That's the way you're going to be involved. It's going to be a great night. Mark it down. Don't miss it.